We don't really know what happened because my great-grandfather, Albert Adolf Peters, and my great-grandmother, Gertruida Peters. So 3 of our family members died, and hulle was toe almal weeskinders. So all of them were orphans. So my grandfather and his brothers and sisters were then in an orphanage, and they didn't have money to keep them there. So in the end, they just opened the gates and everyone went in his own direction. That's why we as a family know very little of what actually happened. My grandfather, who was also in the camp, was 12 years old at that time because he was born in 1888.
South African Freddie Peters never knew what happened to his great-grandfather because his family never spoke about it. All he knew was that he was born in Germany in 1832 and joined the military. Only years later did they find out that he fought in the Crimean War and thereafter came to South Africa, where he married and died in the Vredefort Road concentration camp during the Second Anglo-Boer War. We join Freddie as he visits the camp for the first time. Conditions in the British concentration camps were harsh, and many people, mostly women and children, died from disease, malnutrition, and poor living conditions. The camps became a controversial aspect of the war, with international criticism directed at the British for their treatment of civilians.
Yeah, I'm going to. We're just going to do that to remember our great-grandfather and great-grandmother and one of our grandfather's brothers who died here. Okay, this is actually the first time we are coming here.
Locals look after the site. Charlotte Smalberger lives across the road from the camp and sent Freddie details of the graves, the names, dates, and photographs of his great-grandfather and great-grandmother, so Freddie could identify his family.
We only recently found out that my great-grandfather and great-grandmother actually died in the concentration camp and were actually buried here. Charlotte helped us to figure this out, and she actually took photographs and sent it to us, and we could determine from the date of this, that they have died, that those are our family members. So this is really the first time we're coming here. It brings a lot of memories to us that they actually were part of the war right up to the end, that they died during the war. At one stage we thought they were taken prisoner and sent overseas. So we didn't really know. My grandfather, who was also in the camp, he was only 12 years old at that time. And he lost touch with his brothers and sisters because all of them were orphans. So there was no one to look after them after the war. And here is my grandfather's brother. His name is on this list. And you can see these are children. These are children. He was only, he was 1 year old. This is my grandfather's brother. And here, on these panels that you see here are all children these are all children. The Afrikaans cultural organizations are doing a lot to preserve the history of our people during the Anglo-Boer War. So the cultural organizations, they have made lists of the names, and they've made these name plates, and they keep them well preserved. So we do a lot from our side to preserve our heritage.
The British established these concentration camps in an effort to control the civilian population and counter the Boer guerrilla warfare tactics. They confined Boer women, children, non-combatants, and later black South Africans who were displaced by the war. The camps were poorly managed, with inadequate living conditions leading to widespread disease, malnutrition, and a high death toll. Freddie's grandfather and one of his children died during the same week, and his wife died 4 months later. After visiting the camp, Freddie admits to feeling really sad that so many Boer women and children died in the British concentration camps. His story is only one of thousands of stories yet to be told of this tragic chapter in South African history.